pushing your comfort zone. It should scare you if you are serious about making gains. And I had to take an honest look at myself and my training the past 1 to 2 years and think, oh, I've been doing reps of 6+. I haven't gone lower than that. Why? Oh, okay. I'm afraid of doing the work. I'm afraid of being consistent. I'm giving myself an out by using variation as a way of tricking myself that I'm actually improving. Well, with a 5x5, you can look at week 1 and you can look at week 12. And if you're lifting heavier with comparable technique, congrats to you. And that's something that I've been really satisfied with my own training by committing to these compound exercises, free weight, movements that are challenging, they have skill because they reward you, and it's like you want to attack your training because it adds a lot of purpose as opposed to just fluffing around with all these different exercises, changing your workout every couple weeks, varying your rep ranges, sets, all this stuff, instead of just picking something simple like a 5x5 and linearly progressing. Of course, the 5x5, it's not perfect for everything, for every single goal. Sometimes it's about more than that. It's about, can I stick to something? Can I write it down? When I want to quit, when I want to change it, I'm going to stick to it. And this level of just focus, man, like that focus, it really pays off. And it's beyond just the strength gains that you get and the muscle mass that you get. It's time to get back to basics. So why am I using the 5x5 method? Using the 8 to 15+ rep range. And I gotten weaker, man. My stability, my strength across the board, pushing, pulling, it's not there. There's something that's missing if you're not using at least low rep ranges in some capacity in some workouts. I like the simplified programming of 5x5. It's the first exercise in my workout. All I have to do is lift heavier linearly week to week, or at least match what I did the previous workout. There's no need to think about how many sets am I doing, how many reps, then I have to increase the weight or decrease the weight based on how I change the sets and reps. It's simple. You lock in, you make those gains. With this innate fear that I've had of injuring myself with lower reps, I've missed out on building that strength foundation. It's not as if you got to do 1 rep max to build up your connective tissue, joint, tendon resilience. You can use 5 reps and it's sustainable in the respect of heavy enough, but not too heavy. I've spent the last couple of years doing a little bit more hypertrophy, bodybuilding style workouts where it's more based on sensation and effort relative to failure as opposed to pure performance. And there's something refreshing about that 5x5 where you set your technique, you set your tempo, and over time, your proxy for progress is performance, lifting heavier. And it's nice to have a bit of that athleticism, those goals that are a bit more objective as opposed to, did I get a really good pump? Did I push myself close to failure? Ad nauseum. I'm just not getting that mechanical tension that you're going to get from a heavy set of 5 reps. And doing this last few months, I've noticed a huge difference in my ability to tolerate high loads, produce max force, and you just miss that from those moderate to high reps. I've been enjoying just the sensation of a heavy, hard set of 5, where the rep speed slows and you're pushing with as much force production as you can. You're trying to get those actin, myosin cross bridges. It's like, come on, contract as hard as you possibly can. And not doing those 5 rep ranges for so long has made me forget that this sensation is fun. Here's why 5x5 is the sweet spot between pure strength and hypertrophy. With 1 to 4 reps, you're maximizing that neural strength. Picture this, going into a workout of singles, doubles, triples, or quadruples, you really got to get fired up. The reps are slow. They feel really, really heavy. Once you get to 5 reps, this is that magic in-between zone where it's hard, it's heavy, you've got a lot of mechanical tension, but it's a lot more sustainable in the sense that you don't have to get absolutely fired up, slap yourself on the face, rub your ears, drink 400 milligrams of caffeine. It's tolerable to do. It's hard, but it's not impossible. With 5 reps, it's still plenty challenging. It's heavy enough to develop strength, but it's a lot friendlier on your joints and tendons, and we've got to preserve those with everything that we've got. Not saying that lower than 5 reps is going to crush you, destroy you, KO your training career. It's just from every single workout for 12 weeks, 5 reps, it's not that mentally and physically arduous like the other. With 6+ reps, you're now edging further away from pure strength. And of course, rep ranges are on a continuum. It's not as if you go to 6 reps, suddenly you're building just pure size. Same thing if you go lower than 6 reps as well. It's not pure strength. I'm a fan of working at around 80% of my 1 rep max. This means you've got 1 to 2 reps in reserve. It's about treating 5x5 as more of a marathon than not a sprint. It's not just 1 or 2 top sets. It is 5 sets of 5 reps at this 80% of 1 rep max. That's the quality, that's the intensity that we need to be able to gain strength, but also accrue enough volume, which is the true merit of this 5x5. Why not just train to failure, bro? Just go hard. You'll get all the strength and muscle gain you want. Well, technique is likely to be compromised. You'll end up cutting range of motion, using a different tempo to try and cheat through, and there'll be a lack of consistency with your sets and all of your reps. Strength training in particular is really about building up your strength and not testing it every single workout. This is what 5x5 teaches a lifter, that you have to approach each set with focus, not maximum, not too easy, and it just allows you to build week to week. This is all about that patient approach, which pays off in the long term. There's not one workout, not one to failure 5x5 that's going to transform you. It's what is accumulated week after week, month after month. If your goal is to build strength on a compound exercise, but you only want to train it once per week, 5x5 is awesome because you're doing that volume at that intensity, but there's plenty of time to recover between sessions. So you can really ride that linear progress week after week after week if you keep grinding and you stay focused. If on the other hand, you wanted to train and exercise twice per week, you're better off doing something like 3 sets of 5 so you can spread out that volume across multiple sessions, stay really fresh on each one of those, and also accrue a greater amount of weekly volume overall. Keeping a logbook is non-negotiable. You have to know what you did last week because that informs what you're doing this week and what you're trying to do next week. Left to our own devices, I would just pick a weight that is comfortable or feels challenging on the day. Whereas if I have it written down, I'm going to see it before I do my workout. I'm going to get a little bit nervous because I know how hard the previous session was. It's a way of coaching yourself and keeping yourself honest when you want to cut corners or skip a 5x5. No, you listen to that logbook there and you do your best to match it or beat it in this workout. A rookie mistake is not resting long enough. If you do 1-2 minutes after a heavy compound set, you're shooting yourself in the foot, man. I can't tell you how important it is to do 3, 4, 5 minutes rest between each of these sets. I know it's a pain. It's going to take you like 20 to 30 minutes after you've done your warm up and your working set and you're resting between the sets. But this is that real productive stuff. You don't want to rush it. You don't want to impair your performance because you're not recovered. You need to be mentally ready after that 3 minutes. You need to be physically ready. And you have to be focused on what is in front of you. You can't just jump into it half-cocked because you're going to get half-assed results. All right, 5x5, it's such an effective way to get stronger because just doing one heavy compound movement with genuine effort relative to your level, it is truly enough to fully stimulate the prime mover muscles. We've gone way too far. The pendulum has swung way too much from you only need one exercise to you need all of the exercises. We're not saying this in this 5x5 video. It is the focus is on that 5x5 compound. Then you finish with a little bit of extra accessories. Having just one clear priority in a workout really does set you up for success. Do this well, and then anything else you do afterwards is just icing on the cake. You wouldn't do 5x5 on dips and then do an overhead press, a bench press, and then also push-ups. Instead, I'd do 5x5 on my dips, and then I'd follow up with a compound accessory, say bench press, for 3 sets of 8 to 12 reps, followed by 2 lighter isolation exercises to finish up with some accessory work for the prime movers involved. It's a push day, so I need to work on my side delts with some lateral raises, as well as my triceps with some overhead tricep extensions. The specificity of exercise, you can't hide from it. by committing to this 5x5, you will reap the rewards that the person who program hops, exercise hops, changes things all the time just to be entertained, they're never going to get that, and they'll always stay beginner to intermediate zone. When it comes to getting stronger, you've just got to lift heavy weights, and the only way to build confidence is by doing just that with 5 reps. It allows you to tap into that difficulty and build up that competence and confidence in yourself that doing things for low reps isn't scary, it is challenging, but you can do it. One thing I really struggle with in my workouts is deciding how many sets am I doing today? How many reps should I do? Should I go low rep, moderate, high rep? Where should I put this exercise in my workout? Gone. All of that paralysis by analysis is nullified. It's taken away when you're doing 5x5. Furthermore, this simplicity in programming is awesome. You've got that 5x5, you got to go heavier. That's your only job. It sounds simple, but it's not easy in practice. And your mind's going to play all these tricks. Maybe I should drop it down this week, do 4 sets of 5. No, you've got this constraint, and then you just will be surprised at how you're able to tolerate your training so much better. You're not going to think, oh, I'll change my rep range, I'll drop the weight, keep it the same, but modify my volume. No. 5x5, just up that weight, just keep upping that weight, even when you don't want to mentally. Of course, you got to keep things safe and make sure that you can actually handle the 5x5. But you get what I mean. You're going to have those moments where you're at a crossroads. Oh, I'm just going to swap 5x5 to something else, or you want to change it in some type of way. This guardrail, I love it. I hate it, but I love it. I've been seeing praises about 5x5, but it's not perfect at all times for all people. Those of you who are really strong, 5x5 isn't the best thing to use for the rest of time, because the heavier that you're lifting, the more fatigue you're creating. Of course, that fatigue vary, but real talk, there can be real diminishing returns from doing more total sets with this 5 rep range. These really high absolute loads creates a ton of stress on your joints, your CNS, and recovering from a hard workout of 5x5 can be really difficult. For my advanced fellas listening, shout out to the 5% of you or 10% of you that are watching. You can probably get away with doing just 2 to 3 sets of 5 rep range, and you'll get plenty of stimulus, but you'll also be able to recover, come back for the next session, hit it again, etc. This is because the stronger that you get, the smaller returns you're going to yield from these simple linear 5x5 type of programs. You may need more or less volume, because in your state, it's just not possible to linearly increase weight every single week. Otherwise, we'd be riding 5x5. Everyone would be doing 5x5, from absolute beginner to the elite, most strong person in the world. And we know that's just not the case. When you're advanced, you've got a highly adapted nervous system. You're going to need some more nuanced approaches to forcing progress, such as block or undulating periodization. What this means is you need more rep ranges. You're going to have to play with 1 to 4 reps to really get that high threshold motor unit adaptation, which only comes from lifting really maximally. You may also need periods of 6+ reps where you build up some muscle mass that you can then teach later to get stronger. In a world of overcomplicated training programs, 5x5 brings it back to what actually works. Lift heavy, fight for linear progress for as long as possible, and get stronger over time. Remember, simple does not mean easy. You're doing 5x5, but in order to really challenge yourself, you got to push it consistently week after week in order to conquer your body. Fellas, pick a compound exercise that you really want to get stronger at, run 5x5 for 3 months, and you'll be surprised at how much progress you can make with such a simple, uncomplicated training method. Cheers for watching, people. Boom. Here's another Fitness FAQs video to help you keep getting smarter and stronger.